And I will also start sharing my screen so we can dive into chapter 29, section 4, dream roles.
Yeah.
Let's see what this has to say. Okay. Oh, I thought I already got to this. Sorry, guys. Now you're going to have to bear with me while I get into chapter 29. Chapter 29, dream roles. All right. Do you believe that truth can be but some illusions? They're dreams because they are not true. Their equal lack of truth becomes the basis for the miracle, which means that you have understood that dreams are dreams and that escape depends not on the dream, but only on awaking. Could it be some dreams are kept and others wakened from? The choice is not between which dreams to keep, but only if you want to live in dreams or to awaken from them. Thus it is the miracle does not select some dreams to leave untouched by its beneficence. You cannot dream some dreams and wake from some. You are either sleeping or awake. And dreaming goes with only one of these. The dreams you think you like would hold you back as much as those in which the fear is seen. For every dream is but a dream of fear, no matter what the form it seems to take. The fear is seen within, without, or both. Or it can be disguised in pleasant form. But never is it absent from the dream. For fear is the material of dreams, from which they are all made. Their form can change, but they cannot be made of something else. The miracle were treacherous indeed if it allowed you still to be afraid because you did not recognize the fear. You would not then be willing to awake, for which the miracle prepares the way. In the simplest form, it can be said attack is a response to function unfulfilled as you perceive the function. It can be in you or someone else, but where it is perceived, it will be there it is attacked. Depression or assault must be the theme of every dream, for they are made of fear. The thin disguise of pleasure and of joy in which they may be wrapped, but slightly veils the heavy lump of fear that is their core. And it is this the miracle perceives, and not the wrappings in which it is bound. When you are angry, is it not because someone has failed to fill the function you allotted him? And does not this become the reason your attack is justified? The dreams you think you like are those in which the functions you have given have been filled. The needs which you ascribe to you are met. It does not matter if they be fulfilled or merely wanted. It is the idea that they exist from which the fears arise. Dreams are not wanted more or less. They are desired or not. And each one represents some function that you have assigned, some goal, which an event or a body or a thing should represent and should achieve for you. If it succeeds, you think you like the dream. If it should fail, you think the dream is sad. But whether it succeeds or fails is not its core, but just the flimsy covering. How happy would your dreams become if you were not the one who gave the proper role to every figure which the dream contains? No one can fail but your idea of him, and there is no betrayal but of this. The core of dreams the Holy Spirit gives is never one of fear. The coverings may not appear to change, but what they mean has changed because they cover something else. Perceptions are determined by their purpose, and that they seem to be what they are for. A shadow figure who attacks becomes a brother giving you a chance to help. if this becomes the function of the dream, and dreams of sadness thus are turned to joy. What is your brother for? You do not know, because your function is obscure to you. Do not ascribe a role to him that you imagine would bring happiness to you, and do not try to hurt him when he fails to take the part that you assign to him in what you dream your life was meant to be. He asks for help in every dream he has, and you have helped to give him, if you see the function of the dream as he perceives its function, who can utilize all dreams as means to serve the function given him. Because he loves the dreamer, not the dream, each dream becomes an offering of love, for at its center is his love for you, which lights whatever form it takes with love.
Hmm.
Hmm. Yeah, I can see that, right? In all the relationships I have. The function I have assigned to a person to fulfill my expectations. You know, are you being kind? If not, well, you're not fulfilling the function I gave you, right? But really, in truth, that's part of the illusion, right? Because the person that I'm looking at, really only function they have is to provide me for an opportunity to forgive them and love them, which they are doing perfectly. Right? Every day, lots of opportunities to forgive and love. And that really is their only function, which they are fulfilling perfectly. So we have so many opportunities to love our brothers who are giving us opportunities to forgive them and fulfill their function of just loving them.
So all the dreams that they're referring to in this section are not our their waking dreams, our dreams, our goals, our hopes. Rather,
Yes. Yeah.
they're-
Because
I'm
Course in
reading this and
Miracles
I'm
says
going,
we're
wait a minute, my
sleeping.
dreams are not like this.
You're
This is
right.
not the way my dreams are. You know, they're talking about hopes and plans and that kind of thing. Okay.
Right.
Yes.
And that, without mentioning that we also need to fall in love with ourselves first, because most of the time we're looking for love outside of ourselves, or at
Exactly.
least that's what we've been inculcated. That's what we have been taught. That's
Hmm.
what we have learned,
Sure.
Yeah.
and that's a biggie there. That's a biggie, because most of the time we're not loving ourselves. We're looking for that need somewhere else, and when that's not fulfilled, it's a crush, right? A crash or crush, however you want to term it.
Hmm.
So how do we love ourselves, right? How do we and all it is just being kind to yourself and really just centering that feeling.
And also, there's a lot of other ways, like being of service is
Also,
a great way to love yourself, right? Because
yeah,
you show up and be of service, and there's that return that you get from giving, right? Giving and receiving becomes one,
but that's the self love.
right? Right, absolutely. Nurturing a pet, right? Pets are wonderful tools for practicing self-love. Yeah, so many opportunities.
And so when the book talks about that every relationship is a holy relationship, I think that's where it's going with that, right? That exercise that's done, where you look in the mirror and send love to yourself, or you do it with somebody else and send love to yourself.
Hmm.
That's that whole process of trying to internalize the love for self, because that
Right,
person in front of you is really you also.
that's right. That's right.
And these are the things that these are, and it says, I mean, it's a book that I'm reading now. It says to do all the rituals and things to try and to work your way to get there if one is having issues with that part of us.
Right. Yeah, there's a lot of great tools for doing that, right? Optimizing your environment, optimizing your mind, Doing all the things to create a good environment so that
And,
it's
and you could do it with a mirror. That's
Mhm.
for me, that's been difficult to keep looking at the mirror at myself. All kinds of things keep coming up in my head. And that's the emotional part that we need to examine because it is our teachers. Some of the most emotional stuff we cannot even, it's a daunting experience to kind of witness it or deal with it or presence it, run away from it. Anyway, go on.
Yeah, no, all the things. You're right. And as I was reading this, I was thinking about today's lesson, which is what is our function, right? To be the light of the world and to really embody that in a way that you can share that light with your brother, right? And that's all also about understanding your brother's function is also to be that light for you so that you can see that perfection in your brother, to see the Christ in your brother. All right, any other thoughts about what we just read, or should we continue reading? All right, let's keep going. I will share my screen. We will go to the changeless dwelling place. There's a place in you where this whole world has been forgotten, where no memory of sin and of illusion lingers still. There is a place in you which time has left, and echoes of eternity are heard. There is a resting place so still, no sound except a hymn to heaven rises up to gladden God, the Father, and the Son. Where both abide, are they remembered, both. And where they are is heaven and is peace. Think not that you can change their dwelling place, for your identity abides in them, and where they are, forever must you be. The changelessness of heaven is in you, so deep within that nothing in this world but passes by, unnoticed and unseen. The still infinity of endless peace surrounds you gently in its soft embrace, so strong and quiet, tranquil in the might of its creator. Nothing can intrude upon the sacred Son of God within. Here is the role the Holy Spirit gives to you who wait upon the Son of God and would behold him waken and be glad. He is a part of you and you of him, because he is his Father's Son, and not for any purpose you may see in him. Nothing is asked of you but to accept the changeless and eternal that abide in him, for your identity is there. The peace in you can but be found in him, and every thought of love you offer him but brings you nearer to your awakening to peace eternal and to endless joy. The sacred Son of God is like yourself, the mirror of his Father's love for you, the soft reminder of his Father's love by which he was created and which still abides in him as it abides in you. Be very still and hear God's voice in him, and let it tell you what his function is. He was created that you might be whole, for only the complete can be a part of God's completion, which created you. There is no gift the Father asks of you, but that you see in all creation but the shining glory of his gift to you. Behold his Son, his perfect gift, in whom his Father shines forever, and to whom is all creation given as his own. Because he has given it, because he has it, is it given you, And where it lies in him, behold your peace. The quiet that surrounds you dwells in him. And from this quiet come the happy dreams in which your hands are joined in innocence. These are not hands that grasp in dreams of pain. They hold no sword, for they have left their hold on every vain illusion of the world. And being empty, they receive, instead, a brother's hand in which completion lies. If you but knew the glorious goal that lies beyond forgiveness, you would not keep hold on any thought, however light the touch of evil on it may appear to be. For you would understand how great the cost of holding anything God did not give in minds that can direct the hand to bless and lead God's Son unto his Father's house. Would you not want to be a friend to him, created by his Father as his home? If God esteems him worthy of himself, would you attack him with the hands of hate? Who would lay bloody hands on heaven itself, and hope to find its peace? Your brother thinks he holds the hand of death. Believe him not, but learn instead. How blessed are you who can release him just by offering him yours. A dream is given you in which he is your savior, not your enemy in hate. A dream is given you in which you have forgiven him for all his dreams of death. A dream of hope you share with him instead of dreaming evil, separate dreams of hate. Why does it seem so hard to share this dream? Because unless the Holy Spirit gives the dream its function, it was made for hate and will continue in death's services. Each form it takes in some way calls for death. And those who serve the Lord of death have come to worship in a separated world, each with his tiny spear and rusted sword to keep his ancient promises to die. Such is the core of fear in every dream that has been kept apart from use by him who sees a different function for a dream. When dreams are shared, they lose the function of attack and separation, even though it was for this that every dream was made. Yet nothing in the world of dreams remains without the hope of change and betterment, for here is not where changelessness is found. Let us be glad indeed that this is so, and seek not the eternal in this world. Forgiving dreams are means to step aside from dreaming of a world outside yourself, and leading finally beyond all dreams unto the peace of everlasting life. You know, it's interesting. I was just thinking, I was at a networking function last Thursday night, and it was all these women getting together, and there was someone new there that I had never met before, and she was also a life coach, and I decided to go up to her and just like find out, tell me about your journey and tell me about this, and she was sharing all her things, and we got talking and we got to sharing ideas about things, and I asked her, she was talking about forgiveness, and I said, have you ever heard of Ho'oponopono? And she said, no. And I said, well, it's a prayer of forgiveness. And I said, and it goes like this. And I looked into her eyes, and I said it. I said, I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. And you know what she did? She grabbed my arm and she goes, oh my God. She goes, you have no idea what you just did. And I had just met this woman. I did not know this woman. There's no way I did anything to her, right? She said, you have just healed so many things in me from you saying that to me. Because even just seeing me as a separate person and how I look different from her, how maybe, I don't know what her mind was projecting of me as like as whatever it was, but she said in just saying those things to her that it had helped her so much. And imagine that, right? I'm telling this person, I'm sorry. Please forgive me. I mean, clearly I didn't do anything to her because I just met her. But her receiving those words changed her in that minute, in that moment.
Mm.
Just hearing those words, I'm sorry, please forgive me. I mean, they're so powerful. It's so powerful when you say those words to another person and you truly mean it. And it doesn't matter if you've done anything or not, clearly, because clearly I didn't, right? But even if you think maybe this person's holding a resentment against you or somebody is that for some reason you're withholding forgiveness, right? Because you feel justified in your attack. You feel justified in feeling differently. I mean, try it. Just try it. Go up to those people that you have this like, ooh, this feeling that's not quite there with, and just say those words. I'm sorry, please forgive me. Thank you. And then thank them. Thank you. I love you. It is so life-changing.
Mm.
Anyway, I wanted to share that with you because it was just an interesting moment that we shared. And the fact that she had told me, she goes, I have to tell you that helped me so much that you just did that. You just said those words to me. You know, people long to hear those words, right?
I mean, that's a practice you could make. There's people that just do that as much as
Right.
they can throughout the day. Yeah, just a centering technique. Yes, great.
Yeah. Yeah. So I thought that was an interesting thing to
Yeah.
share.
Mm.
But it's all about seeing your brother as sinless, right? Seeing your brother as at one with the one mind of God that we all share. And how do we get there? How do we get to that place?
Mm. Mm.
Would you call that a holy instant when that happened?
Absolutely. Totally. Right?
Mhm.
Absolutely.
Mm.
Yeah. Oh, and look at this, going into our next section called Forgiveness in the End of Time. Shall we keep going? Does anybody
Well,
have anything they want to share before I continue?
well,
Okay, let's go. I promise I did not know that I didn't look ahead. Okay, forgiveness in the end of time. How willing are you to forgive your brother? Well, there you go. How
there
much
you
do
go.
you desire peace instead of endless strife and misery and pain? These questions are the same in different form. Forgiveness is your peace, for herein lies the end of separation and the dream of danger and destruction, sin and death, of madness and of murder, grief and loss. This is the sacrifice salvation asks, and gladly offers peace instead of this. Swear not to die, you holy Son of God. You make a bargain that you cannot keep. The Son of Life cannot be killed. He is immortal as his Father. What he is cannot be changed. He is the only thing in all the universe that must be one. What seems eternal, all will have an end. The stars will disappear, and night and day will be no more. All things that come and go, the tides, the seasons, and the lives of men, all things that change with time and bloom and fade, will not return. Where time has set an end is not where the eternal is. God's Son can never change by what men made of him. He will be as he was and as he is. For time appointed not his destiny, nor set the hour of his birth and death. Forgiveness will not change him. Yet time waits upon forgiveness, that the things of time may disappear, because they have no use. Nothing survives its purpose. If it be conceived to die, then die it must, unless it does not take this purpose as its own. Change is the only thing that can be made a blessing here, where purpose is not fixed, however changeless it appears to be. Think not that you can set a goal, unlike God's purpose for you, and establish it as changeless and eternal. You can give yourself a purpose that you do not have, but you cannot remove the power to change your mind and see another purpose there. Change is the greatest gift God gave to all that you would make eternal, to ensure that only heaven would not pass away. You were not born to die. You cannot change because your function has been fixed by God. All other goals are set in time and change that time might be preserved, excepting one. Forgiveness does not aim at keeping time, but at its ending, when it has no use. Its purpose ended, it is gone. And where it once held seeming sway, is now restored the function God established for his Son in full awareness. Time can set no end to its fulfillment, nor its changelessness. There is no death because the living share the function their Creator gave to them. Life's function cannot be to die. It must be life's extension, that it be as one forever and forever without end. This world will bind your feet and tie your hands and kill your body only if you think that it was made to crucify God's Son. For even though it was a dream of death, you need not let it stand for this to you. Let this be changed, and nothing in the world but must be changed as well. For nothing here but is defined as what you see it for. How lovely is the world whose purpose is forgiveness of God's Son. How free from fear, how filled with blessing and with happiness. And what a joyous thing it is to dwell a little while in such a happy place. Nor can it be forgot in such a world. It is a little while till timelessness comes quietly to take the place of time. Bum, bum, bum. How does that make you feel when you read that, when you hear
Hopeful.
it? There you go, Carl.
What did you say, Carl?
Hopeful.
Hopeful.
Expansive.
Those times they are a changing.
What time? There is no time.
The timelessness is a changing.
Yeah, that's it.
I love that. In such a world, it is a little while till timelessness comes quietly to take the place of time.
Mm.
Yeah.
When you're in the ever state of presence, you then really don't need time. Time is a way of imagining or pretending that there's a past and a future that then you worry about or keep bringing into your present, et cetera, and have all those depression, anxiety, whatever, anticipation. But when you know that everything is here for you and available in your present moment of experience, then that's really what matters. And you can just play right there. And that next moment of time, if you will, is in that next ever-present moment of experiencing. So you participate in time, if you will, because time does exist here, but you have no need to be, again, a victim to time or a slave to time. You're just experiencing, making the most of every moment.
Good. Yeah. Very good.
Well said,
Mm.
Mary. Thank you for sharing that. I noticed Carl was doing some tapping.
You cut out.
I said, I noticed Carl was doing some tapping. I know it says my internet's unstable. It only does that when I'm on this Zoom group, by the way.
Yeah. Mm,
Keeping making sure things get in there. Hello.
mm.
Yeah, yeah, there you go. All right, any thoughts before we continue? It was a great share, Mary. Thank you so much.
Yes.
All right, let's go to seek not outside yourself. One of my greatest lessons in life. It's life, land of illusions. Seek not outside yourself, for it will fail, and you will weep each time an idol falls. Heaven cannot be found where it is not, and there can be no peace excepting there. Each idol that you worship when God calls will never answer in his place. There is no other answer you can substitute and find the happiness his answer brings. Seek not outside yourself, for all your pain comes simply from a futile search for what you want, insisting where it must be found. What if it is not there? Do you prefer that you be right or happy? Be you glad that you are told where happiness abides and seek no longer elsewhere. You will fail, but it is given you to know the truth and not to seek for it outside yourself. No one who comes here but must still have hope, some lingering illusion or some dream that there is something outside of himself that will bring happiness and peace to him. If everything is in him, this cannot be so. And therefore, by his coming, he denies the truth about himself and seeks for something more than everything, as if part of it were separated off and found where all the rest of it is not. This is the purpose he bestows upon the body, that it seek for what he lacks and give him what would make himself complete. And thus he wanders aimlessly about in search of something that he cannot find, believing that he is what he is not. The lingering illusion will impel him to seek out 1,000 idols and to seek beyond them for 1,000 more, and each will fail him, all excepting one. For he will die and does not understand the idol that he seeks is but his death. Its form appears to be outside himself. Yet does he seek to kill God's Son within and prove that he is victor over him? This is the purpose every idol has, for this the role that is assigned to it, and this the role that cannot be fulfilled. Whenever you attempt to reach a goal in which the body's betterment is cast as major beneficiary, you try to bring about your death. For you believe that you can suffer lack, and lack is death. To sacrifice is to give up, and thus to be without, and to have suffered loss. And by this giving up is life renounced. Seek not outside yourself. The search implies you are not whole within, and fear to look upon your devastation, but prefer to seek outside yourself for what you are. Idols must fall because they have no life, and what is lifeless is a sign of death. You came to die, and what would you expect but to perceive the signs of death you seek? No sadness and no suffering proclaim a message other than an idol found that represents a parody of life, which, in its lifelessness, is really death, conceived as real and giving living form. Yet each must fail and crumble and decay, because a form of death cannot be life, and what is sacrificed cannot be whole. All idols of this world were made to keep the truth within from being known to you, and to maintain allegiance to the dream that you must find what is outside yourself to be complete and happy. It is vain to worship idols in the hope of peace. God dwells within, and your completion lies in him. No idol takes his place. Look not to idols. Do not seek outside yourself. Let us forget the purpose of the world the past has given it. For otherwise, the future will be like the past, and but a series of depressing dreams in which all idols fail you one by one, and you see death and disappointment everywhere. To change all this and open up a road of hope and of release in what appeared to be an endless circle of despair, you need but to decide you do not know the purpose of the world. You give it goals it does not have, and thus do you decide what it is for. You try to see in it a place of idols found outside yourself, with power to make complete what is within by splitting what you are between the two. You choose your dreams, for they are what you wish, perceived as if it had been given you. Your idols do what you would have them do, and have the power you ascribe to them. And you pursue them vainly in the dream, because you want their power as your own. Yet where are dreams but in a mind asleep? And can a dream succeed in making real the picture it projects outside itself? Save time, my brother. Learn what time is for. And speed the end of idols in a world made sad and sick by seeing idols there. Your holy mind is altar unto God, and where he is, no idols can abide. The fear of God is but the fear of loss of idols. It is not the fear of loss of your reality, but you have made of your reality an idol, which you must protect against the light of truth. And all the world becomes the means by which this idol can be saved. Salvation thus appears to threaten life and offer death. It is not so. Salvation seeks to prove there is no death and only life exists. The sacrifice of death is nothing lost. An idol cannot take the place of God. Let him remind you of his love for you, and do not seek to drown his voice in chants of deep despair to idols of yourself. Seek not outside your Father for your hope, for hope of happiness is not despair. Yes.
Well, he's really beating on that drum, isn't he?
I spent most of my life seeking outside of myself for happiness.
Mm.
Yeah. It wasn't until I went into a really deep, dark depression that I realized, even though I'd been doing A Course in Miracles for years, it wasn't until I experienced that losing of everything that I finally started looking inside. You know, I was listening to someone speak not too long ago, and they're talking about depression, people who are depressed or who have no hope about, you know, being in this world anymore. And he said when he meets clients like that, instead of, you know, feeling sorry for them, he congratulates them. He says, congratulations, you're at the point where you're finally ready to give up the ego. You are finally ready to let go of all the false ideas you thought were true about this world. Let them go. Let the ego die. But this is not the death of you. It's the death of the ego, and let it go.
Mm.
You know, and that's an interesting way to look at depression, right? Because a lot of it is that feeling that the idols you have worshiped just haven't succeeded in doing all the things you thought they would do for you. Like the world did not turn out to be the place you thought it was, right? And you get depressed. And rightly so, right? Rightly so. And it is a death, right? It is a feeling of death, but a death of the ego, which is great, right? Let it go. Let go of that, of your idols.
I have a hard time letting go of the fact that I can't change the world around me.
Mm,
That I try and try and try to change it, and it doesn't change. The only thing I can change is myself.
right, right. And didn't we talk about that right in the beginning of this session? We said the world gives you so many opportunities to forgive your brother, and that's their only function, right?
But the trick is to forgive yourself.
Right. Yeah, yeah. For thinking that it was real to begin with.
Mm. Yeah, it's like this political stuff that's going on right now. It's like I've just decided I'm not reading, watching. I mean, what difference does it make? You know, it's like all I do is like start investing, and it creeps into the consciousness, and like, yeah. You know, that's where I bring up to Pam and other people in our other class that you know, hey, what if we were in the Civil War right now? And I was representing the South, and you all were representing the North.
We are.
Knowing what I know now, I just laugh. You got me outnumbered, I give up.
Yeah, but think
It's
about
all a
it.
big joke.
We feel that we can't make any change, but that's not true. We can just by offering forgiveness to our brother. That's how we start affecting change, like real change.
Forgive them, Father, they know not what they do. Is what Jesus said. You know, out there putting him on the cross and stabbing him in the side and pounding the nails in, forgive him, Father.
But it's even more than that. Like it's saying, please forgive me for thinking that there was something wrong with you to begin with, right?
Yeah, you're right.
It's
Yeah.
like an offering forgiveness to your brother is really saying, please forgive me for thinking you needed forgiveness.
And when you do that, you begin to see that brother different. I don't care what his political view may be or how different from me, but you begin to see there's a change in your consciousness.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you, Maynard.
Good, Maynard, yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm. Mm-mm-mm.
That's the key. Shall we try to read one more section?
Okay.
Okay, let's keep going. We've got one section left in this chapter.
Mm.
The Antichrist.
The Antichrist. Oh boy.
Oh, that's a long one.
What is an idol? Do you think you know? For idols are unrecognized as such and never seen for what they really are. That is the only power that they have. Their purpose is obscure. And they are feared and worshiped, both because you do not know what they are for and why they have been made. An idol is an image of your brother that you would value more than what he is. Idols are made that he may be replaced, no matter what their form. And it is this that never is perceived and recognized, be it a body or a thing, a place, a situation, or a circumstance, an object owned or wanted, or a right demanded or achieved. It is the same. Let not their form deceive you. Idols are but substitutes for your reality. In some way, you believe they will complete your little self. For safety in a world perceived as dangerous, with forces massed against your confidence and peace of mind. They have the power to supply your lacks and add the value that you do not have. No one believes in idols who has not enslaved himself to littleness and loss, and thus must seek beyond his little self for strength to raise his head and stand apart from all the misery the world reflects. This is the penalty for looking not within, for certainty and quiet calm that liberates you from the world and lets you stand apart in quiet and in peace. An idol is a false impression or a false belief, some form of anti-Christ that constitutes a gap between the Christ and what you see. An idol is a wish made tangible and given form, and thus perceived as real and seen outside the mind. Yet it is still a thought and cannot leave the mind that is its source. Nor is its form apart from the idea it represents. All forms of antichrist oppose the Christ and fall before his face like a dark veil that seems to shut you off from him, alone in darkness. Yet the light is there. A cloud does not put out the sun. No more a veil can banish what it seems to separate, nor darken by one whit the light itself. This world of idols is a veil across the face of Christ, because its purpose is to separate your brother from yourself. A dark and fearful purpose, yet a thought without the power to change one blade of grass from something living to a sign of death. Its form is nowhere, for its source abides within your mind, where God abideth not. Where is this place where what is everywhere has been excluded and kept apart? What hand could be held up to block God's way? Whose voice could make demand he enter not? The more than everything is not a thing to make you tremble and to quail and fear. Christ's enemy is nowhere. He can take no form in which he ever will be real. What is an idol? Nothing. It must be believed before it seems to come to life, and given power that it may be feared. Its life and power are its believer's gift. And this is what the miracle restores to what has life and power worthy of the gift of heaven and eternal peace. The miracle does not restore the truth. The light, the veil between, has not put out. It merely lifts the veil and lets the truth shine unencumbered, being what it is. It does not need belief to be itself, for it has been created, so it is. An idol is established by belief, and when it is withdrawn, the idol dies. This is the Antichrist. The strange idea there is a power past omnipotence, a place beyond the infinite, a time transcending the eternal. Here the world of idols has been set by the idea this power and place and time are given form and shape the world where the impossible has happened. Here, the deathless come to die, the all-encompassing to suffer loss, the timeless to be made the slaves of time. Here does the changeless change, the peace of God, forever given to all living things, give way to chaos. And the Son of God, as perfect, sinless, and as loving as his Father, come to hate a little while, to suffer pain, and finally to die. Where is an idol? Nowhere. Can there be a gap in what is infinite, a place where time can interrupt eternity? A place of darkness set where all is light? A dismal alcove separated off from what is endless? Has no place to be. An idol is beyond where God has set all things forever and has left no room for anything to be except his will. Nothing and nowhere must an idol be, while God is everything and everywhere. What purpose has an idol then? What is it for? This is the only question that has many answers, each depending on the one of whom the question has been asked. The world believes in idols. No one comes unless he worshiped them and still attempts to seek for one that yet might offer him a gift reality does not contain. Each worshiper of idols harbors hope his special deities will give him more than other men possess. It must be more. It does not really matter more of what. More beauty, more intelligence, more wealth, or even more affliction and more pain. But more of something is an idol for. And when one fails, another takes its place, with hope of finding more of something else. Be not deceived by forms the something takes. An idol is a means for getting more. And it is this that is against God's will. God has not many sons, but only one. Who can have more? And who be given less? In heaven, would the Son of God but laugh if idols could intrude upon his peace? It is for him the Holy Spirit speaks and tells you idols have no purpose here. For more than heaven can you never have. If heaven is within, why would you seek for idols that would make of heaven less? To give you more than God bestowed upon your brother and on you as one with him? God gave you all there is. And to be sure you could not lose it, did he also give the same to every living thing as well? And thus is every living thing a part of you, as of himself. No idol can establish you as more than God, but you will never be content with being less.
Wow.
That was beautiful, right?
Love it.
And that pairs perfectly with this week's lessons. Anybody have any thoughts about that? Any comments? Or on anything we read today? Or is anything coming up for anyone based on anything we've talked about today?
Well, it's saying that you think less of yourself when you're seeking outside yourself.
Right.
That last line, right? Those last few lines. No idol can establish you as more than God. I mean, that line to me says that, we are God.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Right? I mean, that's can't be clearer than that. And then the other one says, because you can't be less than that.
Right.
Right. Not in reality. You can think, poor suffering me. But if you can laugh, you're not suffering.
I think what's amazing too is when you have those moments of experience, when you have that experience of being all that there is, right? I've done that when I've walked the beach. Sometimes I do that when I walk in nature, and I consciously look around me at everything I see and I say, I am that, and
Mhm.
I am that, and I am that, and I am that. And when you say, I am the ocean, I am the wind, I am the light, I am the love, I am God, and you believe it, there's this feeling of joy that is all consuming, and you're in that place of complete at one-ment. I mean, I love when I'm in that place of experiencing being all that there is to experience.
Yeah.
And it's a
Wow.
beautiful practice. If you've never done
Mm.
that, I would encourage you to do that. Go in nature if you can. Open the window and just let the light shine on you, and know that you are one with everything. It's a beautiful feeling.
All right, that does it. I'm going outside.
Right this minute.
Oh,
It's a
boy.
beautiful day, spring day here, like after this cold weather that we've had.
There you
Sunny and
go.
bright.
Oh, yeah.
The geese were you know how you hear the geese?
I hear them
I
every
couldn't-
morning. They live in my backyard.
Well, but these guys were overhead, and you know they were flying north, or yeah. But I couldn't see them. I kept looking for them. I could hear them, but I said, "Am I hearing things?"
That's beautiful.
I mean, they must have been far away where we're not visible, but you could hear their sound,
Right. Sure.
the frequency. Yeah.
Mm.
Tune in.
And I've been wanting to go out and do a nature walk today, and life calls. I got to clean the car, man. Salt on it, inside. The window, how the winter tears up your car. I mean, inside and outside, and you can't wash it because the next day you're gonna have more salt on it as soon as you go out there.
True. It's true.
Mm.
Way of the north.
But I think I'm done for the day, and I will do the walk.
But do the
Good.
walk.
Yeah, I
Gotta
mean,
do it.
Yeah.
it's the only thing that I think is going to center me today, and it's not an idol. It's just nature. When you said, you're walking by the beach, oh man, I love being by the beach, the water, the sand, because you're communing with Mother Earth.
Yeah.
Mm.
It's a beautiful,
Yeah.
beautiful experience.
So over here, I have the trees and the ground
Yeah.
and the wind and the birds.
I'm going to spend more time within.
Yeah, there you go.
There you go, Carl.
Within, without. It's really the same.
That's a form of grounding. Heck yeah, it is.
Mhm.
Oh,
Especially
yeah.
with artwork. I know I used to get lost in my art too. Go into that gap of timelessness. That's a beautiful place to be.
Yeah.
My favorite.
Mhm. Well, I want to thank everyone for joining today. I loved having these conversations and the reading with all of you. It's just, I love just being here with all of you. And for everyone who's not here and listening to the replays, great to share all of this with everyone. So
Okay.
thank you for being here, and
you.
I'll see you all next week.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Terry.
All right.
Thanks,
Thank you.
everybody.
Everyone.
Thank you.
Y'all.
Thank you.
Love you.
Love you all.